15th of April, the Hindu opinion page. The article focuses on decoding the judgment on Jim Corbett National Park. In the very first paragraph, we can observe the judgment is focusing on felling of 6,000 trees in Jim Corbett National Park in Uttarakhand state. Here, even though the priorities of the policies and laws, including the Wildlife Protection Act 1972, Project Tiger, the Forest Conservation Act 1980, even these are priorities, the government focused on increasing revenue. How increasing revenue? Illegal destruction of trees and illegal construction. Again, what the judgment focuses on, the paragraph. Here, the Supreme Court says that the national and state forest authorities have leaned on ecotourism. What is ecotourism? If you go here, you can understand ecotourism. Ecotourism, simply undisturbed areas, helps in building awareness of cultures, recognizes the beliefs of various communities. This stands as ecotourism. But here, if you go here, in its recent judgment, instead of treating ecotourism as a panacea for conservation and revenue generation, the Supreme Court said that the approach must be ecocentrism, not just focusing on the revenue. Please make ecology as a center. This is what ecocentrism in simple terms, and not anthropocentrism. Here we can understand anthropocentrism. Anthropocentrism means nature is a resource to be exploited for human benefits. Supreme Court says, please don't focus on such things. Focus on ecology. This is what the paragraph here defines. And also, in the year 2019, the National Tiger Conservation Authority permitting a tiger safari on the lines of a zoo in national parks. The court doesn't like this, or doesn't want the buffer zones or the some peripheral areas to be unused. So directed banning of tiger safaris in core areas. It is easy to understand. And permitting tiger safaris in peripheral areas, in not just Jim Corbett but across India. Peripheral areas in the sense, simply if there is a area here, if there is area here, in between these two, these are peripheral areas. It means some kind of free movement of animals, not this core area. This can be core area, this can be core area. So safari can be done in between these. This is what the simple periphery areas defines. And here in this year, according to British environments, there are some suggestions based on one person experiences. Apart from that, here comes the key. The International Union for Conservation of Nature's IUCN. What is IUCN? IUCN is defining the species status, either they extinct or extinct in the wild, critically endangered species, vulnerable species, near threatened species, so on and so forth. This is what defines the IUCN. With respect to here, Threatened species monitors 1212 animal species in India. In 2021, it was found that 12% of them are endangered. According to the report of Central for Science 2021, India has lost 90% of area under its four biodiversity hotspots. The precautionary principle therefore applies not only in the case of tigers but also other species. This should be also one of the focus points. So here, when coming to here, what the court missed? What the court missed? The court's decision to assess the damage done to green cover of the Jim Corbett so as to identify the cost of restoration, recover the same for the entire individuals and offices appear to be a mirage. So court is telling that assess the damage, cost of restoration and recover the same. But the author says that in the absence of a well-defined methodology, without a well-defined methodology, so is it necessary to assess how can one assess the damage of green cover and restoration cost and recovery? Explaining this, recovering the cost of restoration does not amount to necessarily recover the loss of ability. Okay, here as per the European Liability Directive 2004, European Liability Directive having European Commission, and they tell that distribution, structure and functions, survival of the typical species. This should be the focus. Focus of what? Focus of assessing the damage. Focus of assessing damage from European Union Commission. And again, with respect to India, there was a case, Tamil Nadu Godavaram case in 1996. What they have done, aimed at replacing lost natural forests with compensatory plantations. So simply sampling, sapling compensations. With respect to this is with respect to India as an example. And defining these, the two choices supported legal institutions serve as a background for the valuation of forest land in India are now compensatory afforestation levy and net present value. This is what defining. And again, the levy. The levy is essentially a form of replacement cost designed to replace the forest land which was lost as a result of diversion of non-forest. This defines the levy defining. And again, in this paragraph, in the context of growing diversity, hotspots and support of revenue evaluation method which is based on ecosystem services is a must. Degradation of biodiversity hotspots, what they do, they provide food, they are having water and other services regulating the climate and floods. So this type of evaluation is also necessary. And before this, the court had set precedent saying the ecosystem services are more important, generate more revenue than obviously. The services are more important, ecosystem services are more important than the revenue generation. And with respect to this, the International Court of Justice, they have given an example. They have given an example here. Costa Rica versus Nicaragua in 2018. In short, the Nicaragua forces occupied some part of Costa Rica and disturbed some kind of ecology. This is what the International Court of Justice and a case went on. This is an example, and the author wants us to know about this example for getting back into the betterment of the Jim Corbett National Park or so on so.